Improvement Warrior Podcast. Let's do this.
Hey, what's up? Improvement Warrior. Jason Yun, back with you again. Welcome to the next episode, Improvement Warrior Podcast. This is number 22. I am outside, or if you're just listening, I'm outside. Power has been off for about an hour, and I am sweating it up. If you're watching the video, you can see the sweat pouring off me. So it's 95 today, I think, with real feel of 102, 103. So it was like this yesterday, but I had the fan on the entire time. But yeah, so this one's a Q&A that I got a question about sleep, especially kids' sleep. So we'll just get right into it and go over this question from Brandon. And basically he asks, Jason, I've been following your work for a while now. Thank you for all your knowledge. I have improved so much from your work. I now need help with my 4-year-old son. I know your son is around the same age. My son has been having trouble falling asleep. I know there's a lot of brain development going on.
25 minutes completed. Burn calories, 122 calories.
Going on at this age. I don't really want to give him melatonin. A typical day for him includes daycare and outdoor play, very minimal screen time. If you could give me any insight, I would appreciate any of your knowledge. So, yes, with those kids, I mean kids in general, especially first 7 years, I think is the most brain development that is occurring. But the human brain doesn't actually fully develop and fully myelinate until the age of 25 to around 28. So it's a big deal, and sleep is one of the big things that helps us fully get to a fully functioning brain and all that stuff. But so yeah, melatonin, with that, never take it yourself, never give it to a kid. The only time, I know Dr. Cruz says the only time you should take it is if you're traveling from an airplane east to west. So you're traveling into the future, basically. So you're going across time zones into the future. But yeah, flying is one of the worst circadian mismatches. It is the worst circadian mismatch. As they say, it's equivalent to 30 chest x-rays when you're up there. Especially now that it has Wi-Fi, so you're basically just in a microwave up there. But one way to, this is off topic, but one way to get back to normal is as soon as you land, try to find somewhere to ground, somewhere to see the sun if it's out. Otherwise you can use red light and whatnot, but you want to ground as soon as you possibly can when getting off a plane. But yeah, melatonin, never take it. If your body makes it, you are not designed to take it. Melatonin is made in the AM sunlight when UVA shows up. So I'm gonna go over my routine that I take my kids through basically through the day. So my son is 3, turned 3 in April, and my daughter's 7. She'll be 8 in less than a month. And what I do is I'll wake up, so sunrise right now is around 6, and I will go to my morning sun, so I see the sunrise, and then I come back, and then that's when I usually wake up my kids. So now it's usually somewhere between 6:45, 7, and this will obviously change seasonally. So summer, sunrise is the earliest it will be right now, and winter it'll go all the way to 8 a.m. So it will change seasonally. But so when I come back from my morning sun spot, I will get them up. I'll usually take my cozy red light panel to help wake them up, and then I'll shine that on them as I'm changing my son. Hopefully your son is potty trained, so we're working on that right now. But as I'm changing my son, I'll put the red light down where the wipes and where I put the diaper, so his bowls will be irradiated by the red light. So I made a video of that recently, so it's pretty funny. I know I don't have too much time left where I can actually do that. And I'm pretty sure my mom and dad did not irradiate my balls with red light when I was a baby. But so that's what I do. I get him up, and then I get my daughter up, and then I will try to get them outside as soon as I can. Dr. Cruz says they don't need, kids' circadian rhythm, circadian mechanism is a little bit more tight, so it's usually not destroyed like most adults are. So you don't really need to get them out for sunrise per se. If you can, much better, but if not, let them sleep, because they need sleep. Kids need the most sleep of all. So obviously newborns, babies, they'll sleep 16 hours or more a day. Okay, and then it slowly goes down, and then it goes up during the teenage years, and that's what one of the major problems is. The teenagers are probably sleeping less than anybody, especially if you have them having phones or TVs in their room, which is a no-no for sleep as well. I know somebody in my inner circle has, I think she's 9, she's 9 or 10, had an iPhone for a couple years now, has an Apple Watch, basically stays up until midnight on the phone doing TikToks and other bullshit like that. Okay. Obviously, if you do have a kid and they can't sleep, make sure you take the phone. Okay. Take the AirPods, take the watches, take all the electronics from them. Okay, so one way like this morning, one way I'm getting them out as soon as possible to the sun is the bathroom window faces that way, right behind me. So that's where the sun is rising, and I will usually. My daughter doesn't fall for it. My son usually will. I'll tell him, "Hey, look what's on Daddy's car." So there was tennis rackets on my car, and there was a stuffed turtle in the yard. I said, "Hey, there's a turtle in the yard." Okay, so but I'll come over and I'll pick him up the window, and then I'll just hold him there, and we'll talk. Sometimes if there's nothing in the yard or anything, I'll say, "Hey, I think I see Spider-Man swinging through the trees." And he's like, "Where?" And it's just different things, like, "Oh, there's an elephant in the tree," and all that. So that's one way I get them out, or get him for sun as soon as possible. Then he'll usually go downstairs, get his breakfast. Usually his mom will get it, and then with the daughter, as she's getting ready, I will usually actually pick her up and take her outside. So sometimes I take her upside down, sometimes I will, there's a lot of trees here, so we'll go on what we call a baby walk. So I'll walk all the way down. It's about 400 steps, 500 steps, so 2 to 3 blocks. I'll carry her, walk her down there, and then just stand there for a few minutes. With the sun, 30 seconds is better than nothing. So just try and get them out as soon as as soon as they wake up. It's depending on the day. I will usually take them on what we call the chunky mobile. So my son, when he was a little baby, I called him chubby chunkers. He's got that little baby fat and all that stuff. So not so chunky anymore. But yeah, that's what we still call it that. But so it's basically just a walk around the neighborhood. I'll just be in shorts. It doesn't matter the time of the year, but I will get them, and we'll usually walk around. It depends if school is in session or not. So if it's a weekend, obviously I'll take them. But if not, I just try to get them outside before they leave for school as much as possible. Okay. And then if they do go to school, so they're going to daycare, Spencer, my daughter, is going to 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, and then my son is going Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. My daughter has day blockers, so day blue blockers. I'll hook up the links for all that, but all the recommended light stuff is at improvementwarriorfitness.com/blue blockers. So highly recommend day blockers. My son is not wearing them yet. We will get them when he turns 4 probably. We'll start putting them on for him. But whoops, hold on. My screen went blank. But Obviously, I would prefer they do not go there because I'm pretty much home all day. Plus, there's the cell towers and the Wi-Fi and all that stuff. But sometimes you got to make wife says they go. But most men know how that is. So, but yeah. So 3 days a week my son goes. 4 days a week my daughter goes. My daughter actually saw 3 people there with blue blockers on, and it was actually one of the admins that works there. So I'm probably going to talk to her today about the lights and possibly getting some cozy lights or some Midwestern light therapy lights in there. So we'll see how that goes. I'll let you know on the next podcast. Then after that, we pick him up, bring him home. There's no lights on in the house at all until it gets dark, until we're having issues seeing it. And then the lights that come on are the amber cozy lights or the incandescent amber or red lights. And then if they do watch TV, I said that you try to limit his screen time, but if TV is on, we have a Waken screen. So it's shopwaken.com. It's at improvementwarriorfitness.com/blue blockers. There's a discount code there as well. It's basically, we do have an amber screen on there that blocks 80% of the blue light. They do have a red one. Okay. It would be on. I would put it on. Well, actually, I wouldn't have a TV if it was up to me. But wife says red one doesn't go on. So it's just the amber one. And so that works good because my son, when they're watching TV, they're required to wear blue blockers, but my son he'll be playing with them, flipping them on and off. Every time Darth Vader comes on, he flips them on because usually Darth Vader's fighting somebody with a blue lightsaber. You can't see the blue lightsaber with his blue blockers on. But so yeah, it works awesome. And then my wife is like a on-off blue blocker person, so it's actually helping her as well. Then bedtime is usually 8 o'clock. Usually. Sometimes we hit that, sometimes it's earlier, sometimes it's later. Before bedtime, though, I usually try to get them out for a second evening chunky mobile. Obviously, if it's raining, they won't go, but that's, I would say, 90% of the nights we do go on a second one, and that's closer to sunset. So sunset is probably, in my opinion, the third most important frequency to get. So you got sunrise, then you've got when UVA shows up. So here in Columbus, it's usually 60 to 75 minutes after the initial sunrise. The Minder app will tell you the elevation of the sun. So when the sun hits elevation of 10 degrees, that's usually when UVA shows up. And that's when melatonin is going to be made. So that's why I try to get them out for that morning session. So we want, obviously, no sunglasses, eyeglasses, but and as much skin showing as possible in that morning session, so the melatonin can actually be made and put them to sleep and help them sleep through the night and whatnot. Okay, but bedtime 8, sun goes first. We have the power on the box in the basement turned off completely for the upstairs rooms. Okay, we have fans for all the rooms, so we just have an extension cord running into all the rooms. It goes back to my being as cool as possible, so we keep this thermostat in the summer at night 71, and winter it is, I try to keep it at 65. Wife keeps playing with it, 66, 67. Okay, but usually it's 65 in the winter. And yeah, and then he sleeps through the night. He's been doing that since 2 or 3 months old. Obviously, some nights when he was a little baby, obviously he didn't sleep through the night, he was hungry and all that stuff. But for the most part, it's been through the night. So he's sleeping from around 8 p.m. to 7 a.m., which is 11 hours, and usually has a nap, 2 to 3 hour nap in the afternoon. If he is napping at daycare, I don't really think he's sleeping too much because there's Wi-Fi and obviously cell towers and whatnot. So, and then the daughter is usually abed 9 to 7:30ish. Okay. But other things to focus on is hydration. Make sure they are drinking plenty of water. With a kid, should be pretty easy to get half their body weight in ounces. And make sure it is good water. Make sure it's not just tap water. Spring water is the best. I go to the spring in Thornville, Ohio. There's also one in Heath. I do that about every 6 weeks. I'm running out here, so probably next week I'll be going back. But I've got a couple carboys, and I've got a whole bunch of liter bottles and whatnot. So pretty much everything that gets emptied as a bottle, so even coconut oil, kimchi, sauerkraut, the laundry thing. Okay. Obviously, make sure you're cleaning certain things out a little bit more if you're going to do that. Oh, power just came back on, so I got my fan back. All right. Yeah, but otherwise, spring water, glacial water, the Fiji water, volcanic water, reverse osmosis water, the things that are like purified, like Dasani and whatnot from like PepsiCo and whatnot. I just think that they're not doing anything to the water, really. So always check to make sure it's purified by reverse osmosis or spring water. And the sparkling water is one thing that they will drink. So sparkling water is usually good water. So just make sure they're hydrated. One thing you can do with the water is, especially at night, is put a little bit magnesium in there. So me and my wife use the BioOptimizer's Magnesium Breakthrough. It's 7 forms of magnesium. It's the best magnesium supplement I've ever taken. But usually kids, especially kids that young, won't swallow a pill. So if you do have pills, you can just basically open up the capsule and then dump a little bit of it in there. There's also a thing called Calm, which is a powder form of magnesium. Just put that in there. Just mix it up and whatnot. You do have to be careful because my daughter can tell the difference if I put too much of magnesium in there. So start small and then work your way up.
And now a quick message from one of our sponsors.
I have gotten off so many supplements since finding Dr. Cruz and his work in 2018. It's ridiculous. But one that I still take and recommend is magnesium. The big thing with magnesium is that different types of magnesium are uptaken by different parts of the body and organs. So, there is a variant with people's responses depending on what they need magnesium for and how deficient they are to begin with. Magnesium deficiency is just as big, if not bigger, than vitamin D deficiency. And a big reason why is magnesium is needed for the conversion step in vitamin D. So, what they did at BioOptimizers and Magnesium Breakthrough is they combined the top 7 forms of magnesium in one capsule. Magnesium is a downregulator for the nervous system to relax and leave us from that flight or fight world of stress that is especially caused by blue light and electro pollution that we are all affected by, no matter how much we biohack. It is also critical for vasodilation, increased blood flow. Any pain or problems in certain tissues, it's because not enough oxygen is getting there. Remember, all disease and ultimately death is a state of hypoxia, or lack of oxygen. The goal of electron chain transport is to move the electrons through cytochromes and reduce to oxygen. It's also super important for sleep and again for vitamin D production. Overall, there are over 300 reactions that magnesium is directly and indirectly responsible for. I used to usually just take one form of magnesium for a month and then switch to another form, but taking this is so much better. You can check it out at improvementwarriorfitness.com/magnesium for a 10% discount off your order. There's also a 100% money-back guarantee. If it is not the best magnesium supplement you have ever taken, return it for a full refund. But I know you're going to love it.
The other thing is dinner. This is hit and miss. I try to get dinner into them as early as possible, but especially with him and his little stomach, he will sometimes get hungry later on, and he'll eat right before bed and whatnot. So just try to get it in as soon as possible, and obviously make sure it's good food and good fats, good protein, seasonal vegetables, fruits, whatnot. The other thing we have on our thing is a smart meter cover. I have a video where I installed it. I'll hook that up. But basically, the smart meter is is on the side of the house, and it was right under where my daughter's original room was, and then my son's room is on the other side of that. So when we put the smart meter cover on, I tested it and whatnot, took the fields right out. So highly recommended that. You can also call the power company to have the analog system put back in. They say it's I think a $30 charge to put it back in, and then I think it's like $35 monthly charge to have the guy come out and read the meter and whatnot. But I had a couple people say they only paid the fee to replace it, and then after that they didn't charge them the monthly fee. Hold on, I lost my screen again. Okay. And then the other things you can do, episode 7 was my sleep podcast where I went over 36 sleep techniques. I won't go over them all here, so I'll just link that up. You can watch that one. It's episode 7. But a couple of those were, a couple of the most important ones were mouth taping. Obviously for a 4-year-old, no. I want to do it with my daughter. I keep asking her and whatnot, but she keeps saying no. One thing that I do is, obviously they're asleep before I am, so sometimes when I am going back to bed, or when I'm going to bed, I'll go in and check on them, and sometimes their position is just out of, their neck is twisted, so they have no choice but their mouth will be open. Obviously we want a closed mouth, that's why we tape the mouth, or why I tape the mouth and recommend taping the mouth. But if their mouth is open, try and move them into position so their neck is straight in line with their spine, because you can't breathe correctly anyway, even if the mouth is closed. If the neck is like cranked or jacked up like that. And then if the mouth is open and they're still in a good position, I'll usually take their lips and then close it, and then just try and hold it there. They say that's what Native American Indian moms used to do, was basically they would stay up the whole night, and if the kid's mouth opened, they would pinch it shut. Okay. So the other thing is, room as dark as possible. That's for all people. Room should be as dark as possible, so if you're in your room and you have your hand in front of your face, you should not be able to see your hand. Okay. Sleep mask, if possible. My 3-year-old won't put it on. My daughter is every once in a while she'll put hers on. So obviously eyes are most important. We don't want any light coming on the skin or anything, because that will destroy melatonin. Then you want your room as cold as possible. Again, we keep it 71, but we have the fans in each room. Okay, so it's okay. So usually will usually during the night I'll put a blanket on, but usually I'll start, because it's okay to put it on once your body temperature starts lowering, then melatonin comes out and whatnot. There was a podcast on Luke Story's podcast. If I find it, I'll link it up. I don't remember who was the interviewee. Obviously no Wi-Fi on. Unplug the Wi-Fi. Switch to Ethernet during the day if you can. That would be best. And one time a week, I do try to take them out to the playground. It's usually a day that they are in daycare or school, because I want as much sunlight in their eyes and their skin, because I know they were getting destroyed when they were at the school or daycare. And if you can, get them out for sunset, have them play outside. We're doing a lot more dinners outside on the back patio, so it works perfectly. Sunset is in the front of the house, or sunrise is in the front of the house, sunset is in the back of the house. Okay. A lot of trees, both directions, so I mean, we're not getting, you can't really see the full disc in the back, but just a little bit, small amplitude leads to a massive amplification from the sun. And another thing you can try is essential oils. So lavender is supposed to be really good for sleep. I use essential oils. I've got 3 diffusers, and we really haven't used it too much in the past couple months here. So summer, use the sun. Sun is the most healing thing we have, and obviously it creates melatonin, it creates beta endorphins, the feel-good neurotransmitters, creates POMC, nitric oxide, vitamin D. Okay, it does everything. So we haven't used essential oils here lately, but winter, fall, we start using a little bit more. But that essential oils could be something that could help as well. So diffusing, when you smell something, aromatherapy is one of the best ways, because it gets into the brain right away. It crosses the blood-brain barrier right away. So you can try that. And that's it. Salt, you want to make sure you are salting, and they are eating or salting food and whatnot. So we use Redmond's real salt. I stopped using pink Himalayan salt because somebody told me that there was fluoride in it. So it just depends on the brand, I think. But sodium is super important, especially when we're sweating more in the summer and whatnot. So be sure to salt their food, and yeah. And I think that's it. That's all I can think of right now. So give those a try. Let me know how it goes. And if you have further questions and whatnot, I mean, obviously at night have them run around, use that energy up and whatnot. But give those tips a try. Let me know how it turns out. And yeah, that's it for podcast number 22. I appreciate you listening. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. Don't forget to leave a review on Apple or Spotify, so it helps get the podcast out there to more people and helps them become the best version of them, the Improvement Warrior. Absolutely. But otherwise, I will check you later. Till then, have a great day. Stay strong, stay positive, be the Improvement Warrior. Get outside.
Got workouts? I do. I believe everybody should have their own home gym, because working out under blue light and Wi-Fi can be detrimental to your health. My online workout program, LBN Online Strength and Fitness Workouts, makes working out from home a cinch. Or you can even take the workouts anywhere you go in the world. With over 300 follow-along workouts with me in 15 different workout genres, from pre-beginner all the way to advanced,
Working out at home has never been easier. I show you how to do each exercise, the equipment needed for each workout, and ways to make it easier, harder, or work around an injury. Check it out today at lbnonlinefitness.com and start your free trial today.